It's a little difficult to compete with His Holiness, but good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the hotel. I've always believed that this hotel has been fortunate in its journey in the city of Delhi. There are many reasons why people don't consider this as a hotel and consider it as an institution and very much part of Delhi's landscape. We've won a battle recently, which I'm sure you're all aware, and we've been fortunate and blessed to have survived and prevailed. And I very firmly believe that His Holiness's regular visits, the very many times that he's walked through our doors, has actually been the guiding light and the guiding spirit which has helped this hotel prevail over all its difficulties and the circumstances we've gone through, and it has also helped us succeed and prosper. So I think we're very blessed, we're very fortunate to have His Holiness's blessings on this institution and for his many visits. We take this as an honor and a privilege to have him with us today. He's been extremely kind to interact with all of us today, and we look forward to a very engaging morning. Thank you so much. Enjoy the morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, again, we are same human being. Mentally, emotionally, physically. As far as our brain is concerned, same, no differences. But with this brain, some intelligence, which is basis of wisdom, and then also emotion, such as anger, jealousy, fear, related with our brain. So we are same human being, and important is everyone want happy life, do not want suffering. And then, according to our scientists, basic human nature is more compassionate because we are a social animal. Any social animal, mentally or emotionally, there is something which brings together. So we human being, a social animal. Each individual's life entirely depends on the community. So that's our basic nature. Yet, as we human being, sometimes this intelligence, beyond our control. That means basic human nature is more compassionate, warm-heartedness. But some intelligence sometimes is beyond our sense of concern and sense of responsibility and compassion. So once our intelligence, without a sense of compassion, then our intelligence is combined with anger or fear. Then sometimes this intelligence really creates a lot of problem. So now today, 7 billion human beings, everyone come from their mother. Everyone, survived with mother and friends, loving kindness or affection. Yet, eventually, when we not much pay attention about this basic human value, we very much sort of attracted about external sort of the material thing. Here, I have the view, the existing modern education is very much oriented about material value. That's I feel we have to think seriously. Actually, as I mentioned earlier, everybody, as a human being, more compassionate, sentient being. However, now we can see children. See, they don't care what the other children belongs, what religion, what nationality. So long they smile and play together, completely same, equal. One time in pathology in Switzerland, you see, there one home, Palestine, next Jew, play together, live together. Then when we join our education sort of field, then we too much emphasis differences, different religion, different nationality. Within this country, the caste system, unfortunately. So, there's too much sort of division. That is a source of problem. So, wherever I have sort of opportunity to share with other people, I always is telling we need a sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. Otherwise, with too much emphasis, differences, then the concept of we and they become very strong. And that's the basis of killing. And past several war, mobilized violence. Now, everyone, everything, because all this occasion, war, killing, is very much based on the concept of we and they. So now today, suppose the modern world, suppose the things much sort of develop. However, with too much emphasis, the concept of we and they. And then killing. I think a lot of money spent for weapon. These are really our own creation problem. So a lot of problem which we are facing is essentially our own creation. So now the remedy these things, you see, we should think, we should have sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. And we are social animal. Now today's reality, Eastern depend West, West depend East, similarly South, North. So different religion, different nationality is secondary level. Top priority, we are same human being. With this feeling, I also, you see, I firmly believe we are same. So wherever I go, I always feel we are same. We are human brothers, sisters. That mentally, emotionally, and immediately when I met someone, immediately feel like brothers, sisters. If I too much emphasis, I am Asian, I am Tibetan, I am Buddhist, and then furthermore, I am Dalai Lama. Then actually You yourself isolated. On this planet, only one Dalai Lama. Not thinking this line, thinking I'm a human being. Then immediately, you see, I feel we are same, human brothers, sisters. So I always make a teasing or a joke, and sometimes some Indian police morning, I always say, come out to my room and some walk and say hello. This police. Sometimes some police very serious. Then I use tackle. Then some smile come. So I really feel oneness of 7 billion human beings is very important. So on that level, wherever I go, so everyone wants happy life. So real source or foundation of happiness is warm-heartedness. And human nature also more compassionate. So irrespective whether believer or non-believer, or believe this religion, that is secondary question. Real question is, we want happy life. We want friend. We want friend who's smiling. Then we feel happy. But some people, they are looking very angry face. Then we don't want to see such people, isn't it? So whenever we meet people, we smile and we feel happy, isn't it? So these are not question of religion, just by nature. Look, dogs. You see, dogs which peacefully remain with other dogs, then they are very peacefully. So sleep like that. And those dogs who always barking survey, they usually is isolated. No other dogs to come closer. So like that, we human being, more compassionate human being, you find a lot of friends, a lot of smiles. So that's the source of our happy life. And all, the physical health also. Some scientists now say constant anger, hatred is actually eating our immune system. So not talking about next life or not talking about God, but simply see everyone wants happy life, and we are social animal. So with warm-heartedness, your days and weeks and months be more happier, peace. So ultimate source of happiness is within ourselves, not money, not dollar. One time in America, I think Houston, one big university, I went there, and then the chancellor accompanied with me. So a little bit long distance. So we talk. And then he, as a chancellor, good salary, good fame. But after sort of exchange some greetings, then he told me his sort of the mental level much sort of worry. And then I hold his hand. Then, you see, I express this my my belief, my experience. Then within few minutes, his face become more peaceful, more smiling. Later, some of his staff member, told some Tibetan, before he very much sort of unhappy person, so he prefer lonely. He do not, because alone. He do not sort of want to talk with his staff. So he he prefer just alone in his office. Then after we met, then he was very active. So his staff member, more work. So the ultimate source of happiness, or even our health, peace of mind, is very important. So modern education very much oriented about material value. So we can see some millionaire or billionaire, but mentally very unhappy. So take a lot of drugs like that, and worst case, suicide. So ultimately, we are social animal, our nature more compassionate. Therefore, we should pay more attention about this basic human value. Then you individual will be more happier, more calm, and your family more happier. And then where you live, your neighbors also, you see, become easily good friend. So that's the way, I believe, that's the way to build happy society. This is my number one commitment. Number two commitment, I am Buddhist. So then, even today, or not only in the past history, but even today, due to different religion, you see, killing each other. In Burma, even Buddhist, you see, killing some Muslim. And in Muslim countries, Shia, Sunni, killing each other. Unthinkable. In this country, I think more than 1,000 years, all these different religious traditions come here, we live together. Basically, I think harmoniously, mutual respect. So religious harmony is possible. India, big nation, over 1,000 years, nearly 2,000 years, different world major religious tradition all live together here. I always was mentioning because of Parsi community, about 100,000 population in Bombay, and they carry their own sort of tradition. Zoroastrian, very small sort of population, less than 100,000. And Bombay, big city, millions of Hindus, millions of Christians, millions of Islam, but live very happily. No sign of fear. Those small community, Parsi community, they carry their own fire puja like that. So that's India. The religious harmony over 1,000 years, I think wonderful. So now, India, our time come, not only just to preserve these things, but show outside the world, religious harmony is possible. Otherwise, it's unthinkable in the name of religion and killing each other. Unthinkable. So that's my, I'm Buddhist monk. I never state Buddhism is best. Like medicine, you cannot say one pill. You can say this. You cannot say this pill is best medicine. Impossible. Judging the individual's physical condition, then we can prescribe away. Or in your case, this medicine is best. Similarly, generally I think medicine for physical. Religion is medicine for mind. So therefore, the different people who have different mental disposition, we need accordingly the religion. To some people, like theistic religion, very helpful. To some people, non-theistic religion, very helpful. So, according individual mental disposition, you see, let's say, to some religion, to some people, very effective. Some people, some cases, not much. So therefore, it is individual matter. According to theistic religion, all these religions created by God. But Islam, Judaism, all accept creator. But I think one creator, same creator, is in different places, different period, is in different teaching, is taught. So that means God himself, you see, accepted among his creation. There are people who have different mental disposition. That non-theistic religion, no creator. Flu survey. No. Some flu. And now my nose, I think you may notice, a little bit swollen. So I think I prefer this. So my number 2 commitment is promotion of religious harmony that we really need today. Then third my commitment is I'm Tibetan people. Very much trust me. So, as far as Tibetan political sort of matter is concerned, since 2001, I entirely, completely retired from political responsibility. Even I think 69, I want my official public sort of statement. I express the very institution of Dalai Lama should continue or not up to Tibetan people. So then 2001, I retired. We already achieved elected political leadership among our refugee community. So we sincerely practice democracy. I think China should learn from us how to practice democracy. Usually the Chinese, they believe they're more advanced. Tibetan, very backward. but in reality, I think since 7th century or 8th century, I think Tibetan, first they developed their own script. 7th century, 7th century. Sometimes I feel the Tibetan king, 7th century, Songtse Gampo, he married with Chinese princess, so very special connection. I think he must enjoy. But later is concerned, I think the Tibetan 7th century Tibetan king, I think he found too complicated Chinese letter. So he invented, he wanted to develop our own script, which copy from Devanagari and alphabet, Kakakanga, like that. So that emperor, quite clever. He enjoyed marry with Chinese girl, Chinese princess. I think Chinese princess and the Indian princess, I think Chinese princess may be more attractive. So Tibetan script developed in 7th century. Then 8th century, Tibetan king, Chisung Tse, he himself, son, his mother is Chinese, one Chinese princess. So very close connection with Chinese emperor and Chinese Buddhist, very close. But then he preferred Buddha Dharma, Buddhism should bring directly from India. So he sent an invitation to, at the 8th century, 9th century, at that period, the top master, great scholar of Nalanda was Chandrarakshita. He invited to Tibet. And Chandrarakshita, in spite of his old age, he accepted. Then he introduced Buddha Dharma according to Nalanda tradition. Within Buddhism, Pali tradition and Sanskrit tradition. Pali tradition is a basis of Buddha Dharma, but not much use logic. And Sanskrit, later, Nalanda tradition, Sanskrit tradition, extensively use logic. So the basic logical way is we always, you see, the question, raise why, that. Not say yes, no, why. So even Buddha's own teaching, according to Nalanda tradition, you see, we raise the question why, then investigate, reason. So some Nalanda master actually rejected some Buddha's own word. If we accept this Buddha's word, it goes against the reason. So reason is more important than just faith. Buddha himself, you see, mentioned, "O my follower, monks, scholars should not accept my teaching out of faith, out of devotion, but rather thorough investigation." So Nalanda master, such as Nagarjuna and Buddha Palita and Dignak or Dharmakirti or Chandrakirti, these masters, you see, make distinction. This Buddha's teaching we can accept. This Buddha's teaching we cannot accept. A great thing. So therefore, since Chandra Rakshita came to Tibet. In spite of his old age, he taught Nalanda tradition. Nalanda tradition very much emphasizes logical approach. All Buddhist teaching, particularly in the field of Madhyamika philosophy or Chitta Mantra philosophy, we extensively use logic. So now, the Buddhist philosophy, the modern sort of scientific subject, the Karsashukti, quantum physics, very similar. Chitta Mantra philosophy, as well as Madhyamika philosophy, all, you see, accepted. Nothing exists as appears. There's big differences, appearances and reality. Chitta Mantra also used to say, appearances is something objectively exists. But if you investigate the reality, nothing objectively exists. There's a quantum physics also say that. So I think many of you may know Raja Ramana, the physicist, late Raja Ramana. He once told me, in the West, quantum physics is something new. But in this country, 2,000 years ago, already developed quantum physics. It is very true. And he takes the Nagarjuna's quotation, things, nothing exists as appears. Appearance so objectively exists. But if we investigate, nothing find. So finally, mere designated. So sometimes when I discuss with a scientist about quantum physics, of course, I respect them. But in mind, I feel I know better. As a student of Nalanda tradition, you see, the quantum physics, nothing exists as appears, and entirely developed on observer. Then quantum physics not yet developed. Where is the observer? The Nalanda tradition, where is the observer? Thorough investigation. So there are different schools of thought when they investigate about self. Like that. So, therefore, Nalanda tradition is very close with scientific thinking. Now, some people, now they express that Nalanda, Tibetan Buddhism is Nalanda tradition. And that Nalanda tradition, Buddhism, is very close with scientific thinking. So now these days, since I think about 40 years, I developed close contact with scientists, mainly cosmology, then neurobiology, then physics, especially quantum physics, then psychology. So meeting with scientists, Western scientists mainly, very useful, mutual learning. Like that. So therefore, the religion just based on faith, belief, and then difficult. But Nalanda tradition based on reason, investigation. So therefore, we can go side by side with the modern scientist, modern science. Sometimes maybe too much kasa, presumptuous. When I discuss with modern sort of the psychologist, then the Western psychology is in their level compared with Indian psychology and looks their sort of, so their knowledge looks like kindergarten level. India, highly developed, really highly developed. I think this country, quite remarkable, over 3,000 years, already developed concept of ahimsa and karuna and shamatha, single-pointed meditation, and then vipassana, analytical meditation, over 3,000 years already. So Buddha himself, product of this tradition. Then he further sort of developed like that. So therefore, the India, quite remarkable. The ancient Indian, over 3,000 years, India sort of tradition, ahimsa, non-violence, and karuna, I think, very much relevant to today's world, isn't it? So therefore, you see, as a Tibetan, I try to preserve these knowledge which come from India, from Nalanda, 8th century, as I mentioned earlier. One Tibetan master sort of some writing a few years ago at Sarnath, Sanskrit University, right? I think Sanskrit University. One professor, you see, translate one writing by Tibetan around, I think, 14th, 15th century. So since he translated, so he knows. Then I asked, since you know the author of that book, and I asked, do you think that author can be Nalanda scholar or not? Then he mentioned without hesitation, not only become Nalanda scholar, but one of the top scholar of Nalanda, he mentioned. So sometimes I jokingly telling, we Tibetan, physically not Indian, but mentally we are more Indian than those modern Indian who educated according to Western education. So we really preserved, you see, the Nalanda knowledge over 1,000 years. So now I, as a refugee, came to this country and a lot of sort of meeting with Indian scholars or practitioner. Traditionally, you Indian were our guru, teacher. We are student. Indian word chela. We are chela. And not only just a chela, but a reliable chela. Isn't it? While you see the Guru's own land, a lot of ups and downs. During those centuries, we chela kept all this knowledge. So now today, sometimes I jokingly telling, traditionally you are our guru, we are chela. Now modern time, it seems we become guru. you becoming chela. So ancient Indian knowledge, really wonderful. Now my third commitment is preservation of these Tibetan knowledge which originally come from India. Then fourth, my commitment is preservation of ancient Indian knowledge and then revival of this knowledge in modern India. these ancient Indian knowledge very relevant to today's world. Oh, today's world, too much self-centered attitude and violence. So India's non-violent, ahimsa, non-violence, and then karuna, compassion, very much relevant to today's world. So now India, I think, should combine modern education, modern knowledge, very helpful, science, technology, these things. Meantime, revival of ancient Indian knowledge about inner world. These two things combined. Then that's only India can do, no other country. So in this country, this knowledge just question of revival. It's your own tradition. So that's my latest sort of commitment. Try to revival of these ancient Indian knowledge in modern India. So that's about my report to you. Now, some questions and also some advice, and also including some criticism. As I mentioned earlier, Shanta Rakshita taught us logical approach or debate. So if you raise some criticism, then I have to answer to logical way. When we so training, debate, we always try to find the mistake from the other person. And then we feel very happy, debate. Once we defeat that, then we feel very happy. If the person who sort of answering, you see, you do not find any sort of contradiction, then you feel very sad. So some small sort of contradiction, find, then we are very happy. Debate. If you accept this, then this case, means such. And then we find big contradiction. So I love any sort of criticism or, yes, like that. Yes?
What do you think of the future of the India-China relations, politically and economically, both in present scenario?
I think, as I mentioned earlier, India, very, very old civilization. As I mentioned earlier, this civilization can go with modern science. So I think the future of India, I think great. But at the same time, depend on Indian, you yourself. Pay more attention about this knowledge and then try to combine. If you just follow the materialistic education, materialistic sort of life, then difficult to say. So India's own culture, India's own 1,000-year-old tradition, knowledge, these are very useful, as I already mentioned. So future of India depend on Indian you. I'm just a refugee and the longest guest of Indian government. Yes, next question.
So I
Just
was
before
asking
we
the
move to
future of India and China,
Sorry,
future
excuse
relations.
me, if I just may come in here.
Sure.
I think naturally, China, most populated nation, and a big nation, ancient nation, and basically China, Buddhist country. When I was in China, 1954, 55, I have the opportunity to visit different part of China. Everywhere, Buddhist temple there. And now today, I think Buddhist population, China, more than 300 millions. So many scholars now realize that Tibetan Buddhism is genuine Nalanda tradition. Nalanda tradition is a very scientific religion. So now today, China is a communist country, I think biggest Buddhist population, like that. So then economically, also you see, I think it's a mutual benefit, India and China. These two nations, Chinese population over 1 billion, India also over 1 billion. So logically, these two big nations, historically very close, and now today, economically, also you see mutual benefit. That's my feel. And a small problem here and there on border area is possible. But basically, you see, it is its own interest. You see, have to live peacefully and harmoniously and helping each other, I feel. Now today, China, totalitarian system. But I think human nature, we love freedom. Look, Hong Kong now. People, they say very much express freedom. So Chinese case also, Tiananmen event, all these, you see, past some event. You see, people want more freedom. So things are changing. Under the leadership of Xi Jinping, I think more realistic thinking is a very sort of angle. So things are changing, I feel. And regarding Tibetan issue, also you see, among the top leaders, you see Chinese, you see now they find some kind of dilemma how to do Tibet issue. They have passed 70 years, their sort of policy regarding Tibet is to use force. Now they realize that's wrong. So they are thinking to follow more realistic approach. So we'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we are truly privileged and blessed that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, an icon, a global icon, an icon of compassion and charisma, an icon of boundless energy, a unique sense of humor, we all agree, and of course his distinct childlike laughter, has shared his thoughts on certain key themes which are lessons for life for all of us, on compassion, on humanity, harmony, the human intelligence, the strength of ancient knowledge and traditions. May I please request for questions to be as per this theme? We also request for the questions to be simple, short, and clear. Thank you. My colleagues will reach you with the mic.
Correct. Yes. Kosa.
I'm a mother of two young children. They're 14 and 11. And we are living in this world where there's a lot of disharmony, or we talk about religion and faith and things like that. And when I talk to my children, I try to keep the religion part of it away. And I talk about the cultural aspects or the teachings of, as you said, of our country, more than the religious aspect of it. Because I don't believe that religion is as important as you as an individual or you as a human being. Do you think that religion should be part of something that we talk in? I mean, I think religion is inside us, but do we need to say that I'm a Hindu or I'm a Muslim, or instate that into our child? Because I feel that the child, when they grow up, can decide what religion they should choose. I just wanted your thought on that.
According to my sort of observation, religion is personal matter. Education regarding warm-heartedness, as I already mentioned, these are the concerning about our own health, our own happiness, not talking about next life, not talking about God, simply based on scientific finding. So that's, I think, entire humanity really need that. Then, in order to become more sensible person, warm-hearted person, not necessary with religion. Use common sense and common experience. Yes, we can tell. Then religion comes later, individual. The basic sort of, also the interest about warm-heartedness. Then all these different religious traditions. You see, their main message is loving kindness. So then use some different religious tradition, further strengthening our basic human nature. Then to some people, to some religious tradition, to some people, other different religious tradition. So there's personal business, I feel. So not necessarily should try to a student or children become religious-minded. No. Here, India's tradition, secular, whether believer or non-believer, and believes this religion, that religion, that is individual matter.
Right? In India too. In India too, secularism, I agree with you that secularism is a great thing that our country offers. However, secularism is something that is more politically talked about, and religion is something that comes in from a cultural aspect, that when a person is born into a family, they automatically take the religion of that family, right? We just say that, you know, you're born into this family and we are Hindu, so you're Hindu. So it is very difficult to segregate. That's what I notice in the world today, that it is very difficult to segregate the two. And I agree with you that religion is a very personal thing. That is personal to me. But I should not have to say which religion I belong to be a human being in today's world, in today's scenario.
I think essence of religion is warm-heartedness. And then different religion, some say there's God, creator, some say no God. That's a different field. So children, you can ask, should be is a warm-hearted person. That's the key factor for a happy life. Then religion, later, their own sort of choice, I feel. As I mentioned earlier, I never state Buddhism is best. I never state. And some of the sort of teaching come from religious text. But these, I think we should consider academic subject, such as warm-heartedness. And these things are academic subject, also related with our health, mental health and physical health, like that. Not necessarily with belief. And then individual feel sort of in order to further develop and believe something, then up to them.
The gentleman.
Your Holiness, I've seen, you talked about logic and debates. I've been to Lhasa many times, and I saw the monks debating,
Yes.
outside in the monasteries. This tradition of logic and debates, I've not seen in any of our monasteries in the Himalayas. Does it continue in the same way or anything, or has it been propagated? But it's a wonderful aspect, actually, now to think, though I have been there, it never struck me in the same way. But like in Dharamsala, in any of our monasteries within the Indian side, or in Sikkim, or in Bhutan, or in Ladakh, do we have that kind of a passion, like what they had in outside, though in a reduced way, outside Lhasa, I saw?
Now, some time back, the concerned people about Buddha Dharma in whole Himalayan range, you see, they set up some small group. They decided all monasteries in Himalayan range from Ladakh up to Man should be learning center. So then I very much sort of impressed, and I give every sort of encouragement. So existing monasteries in the Himalayan range, even in Tibet in the past, many monasteries, you see, carrying some puja, not much pay attention for study. This, I feel, outdated. These days, I'm telling, we Buddhists should be 21st Buddhist. That means, you see, with fuller knowledge about Buddhist philosophy, and then faith. The old-fashioned, just blind faith, that outdated. In many occasions, when I was in South India, when I meet the students, about 10,000 monk students in South India, with a few different monastic institutions. I am telling them, we should be 21st century Buddhist. So our faith, not based on superstition, blind faith. We must investigate Buddhist philosophy. Mainly the philosophy of Patitta Samupant, Sanskrit word, Patitta Samupant. Everything interdependent. Therefore, nothing exists independently. Shunyata. So shunyata means nothingness, not nothingness. But things does not exist as appears, as I already mentioned. You see, things exist due to other factor. So no independent existence. So that concept gives us possibility of change. If things objectively exist, then we cannot change, isn't it? That's a philosophical field. Then the conclusion, since our own happiness or happy life depend on other, therefore compassion. taking care about others' well-being relevant. Okay, so these I consider, you see, the philosophy, not necessarily just faith. Analyze, wisdom. So in order, if we follow the logical approach about Buddha Dharma, then I publicly mentioned there, South India, then Buddha Dharma will remain the next few centuries, 22nd century, 23rd century, because Buddhist philosophy can go side by side with modern science. If we just kept the traditional way, some monastery, just puja, then I don't know, one generation, difficult. So no explanation, just puja. So therefore, we whether accept Buddhism or not, if you accept Buddhism, we should be 21st Buddhist, full of knowledge. So the Himalayan range, like previous Tibet case, many, not much study. Just puja, faith. Therefore, some lamas exploitation that. I think sometimes Buddha, you see, he just go, no Buddha's own kitchen, always baking bowl and go. Our Lama, almost like landlord. These are, I think, wrong. We have to sort of think very seriously, realistically. The monk's rule and the lama's rule. Just to sort of they follow a tradition, some traditional way, as I think, backward, like that. So study, very important. Okay, next.
Buen
So,
día.
question. So therefore, now I always ask monks, even lay people, should study. Whether believe or not, up to individual. But this philosophy is just for knowledge, very useful. Should study. Not only monk, but lay people also. Now some students, some schools now already, you see, teaching or carry lesson about this Buddhist philosophy. That's very good. So now Ladakh, some monastery, now they carry the serious study and including debate. Very good. And also in Sikkim, in this area. But some still, you see, not yet developed this serious study, just to carry the puja and some tantric sort of practice. Tantric practice, in India, we call guhi, secret teaching. So one individual lama, one individual person who practice these tantric different deities, deity yoga, then gain some experience, then teach selected individual few disciples, not public. But since 8th century, Tibet
become sort of Nalendra follower. Then many people, you see, Kasota, take more interest about these different deities. So tantric practice. I think tantric practice sometimes spoiling genuine, sound Buddhist philosophy or tradition. I think the basic rule of Buddhism, Buddha himself, monk. So these deities with consorts, when you reach certain deeper experiences, then you see use kasati, or energy, and then you see chakras here, 32 chakras here, 16 chakra here, 8 chakra, here, the 64 chakra. Then here, 34 chakra. So the real tantric practice is, you see, utilize energy which connected with these different chakras and the breathing control. Like that. So then you eventually fully control breathing. Stop breathing. Then gradually all your energy dissolve in center of these chakras. Then the wind through nose completely stop. Then deeper sort of experiences. You know, the consciousness, while these 5 organs consciousness working, the main mind, sixth mind, then very grosser level. Then in dream state, 5 senses of organs no longer working, then only sixth mind. Then sixth mind, during dreaming, another level. Then without dream, deeper level. The deepest, when you are faint, looks like faint. Breathing stop. Then deepest as a subtle level consciousness experience. So these are the tantric practice. So for that reason, sometimes you see with help of consort. The consort also not the semen let out, control. Semen come and then again go back. That's way. To some people, some lama, even some lama with consort and children, that's wrong. So these are the basic sort of tantric practice. Also, they very much degenerate. So therefore, in these monasteries, right from the beginning, I urge them, study, very important. Then some monastery, now as I mentioned before, they really pay attention for study. And in Ladakh, one Sadarji son, become, you see, it was a very much fun debate with Sadarji sort of also the a turban like that. Very nice. Yeah. So study, very important. Or old-fashioned, just to carry some puja, I think outdated.
Your Holiness, you've said about meditation, breathing and all, that is very much connected Tibetan Buddhism between yoga and the two?
Yes.
Sir, this is an earnest
in tantric
request.
practice, these yoga practice connected. And one famous, the Naroba 6 yogas, we also practice that. So in order to practice these things, you need foundation, sound foundation. For that, is a non-tantric practice, non-tantric teaching. Buddha publicly taught
So Buddha gave this general structure of Buddhist practice.
That's very important. All these Nagarjuna's sort of writing, Madhyamika Mulakarika, extremely important. Now, usually you see some people not much pay attention. They prefer rather sort of one deity yoga. Consider yourself as a deity. Silly. Unless you understand the real meaning of tantric teaching. And then you get some experience about, you see, deeper meditation, deeper experience, deeper consciousness. Then tantric teaching is relevant. Before reaching that, before reaching Ra, without a proper basis, then just a tantric teaching and recite some mantra, not much meaning.
This is a sincere request for just one simple short question per guest, please, so that everyone gets a chance. Thank you. Ma'am, please.
My name is Olgita.
So I'm hoping, say, some occasion, Mahakumbha Mela in Allahabad, I met some sadhus completely naked. I was told some of them, you see, whole year remain in Himalayan mountain, completely naked. So they must have deeper experience about practice of Chandalini, Kundalini, Chandalini. So I'm really seriously thinking some sort of meeting such experienced, you see, Hindu practitioner. You see, these are common. So I'm very, very eager. Some discussion. Actually, their experience. You see, unless they have the experience, you see, utilize inner fire. We call inner fire, Chandalini, or Kundalini, Chandalini. Otherwise, the naked cannot remain in the mountain area whole year. So I'm seriously thinking some discussion, such people. So these things, I think one our bad habit is, oh, there is something. When you ask the actual, nothing. That's our old fashion. Yours is shashat.
No. So we sometimes take things for granted, saying, oh, this exists, that exists, but we can't actually show anything concretely.
Our thinking should be scientific thinking. In the text, mention something, must practice and experience, then convincing. Otherwise, it's just one sort of Lama says something, one Lama says something. Sometimes I really feel Lama institution really exploiting the blind faith people. It's outdated. Now should be realistic. The Buddhist should follow the correct way. Like Lama institution, Buddha, no reincarnation. Nagarjuna, no reincarnation. In Tibet, eventually invented the reincarnation. I think some connection, the thinking landlord and Lama institution become landlord. I really feel. Yes.
Have you answered my question already? Well, I'm going to throw the question in. Technology
Yes.
has brought us together in ways I would never imagined.
Kasa.
I could see this morning a picture of my grandnephew on a plane drawing, going to the United States.
Correct. Yes.
Now, we have used technology to hurt each other, to express ideas that don't come from our mind, don't come from our heart, but below, from the gut. People talk about things that are hurtful. And my question is, how do I deal with this without defriending, without, I'm repulsed by some of the things I find. How do I not turn my face away?
Ka. Oh, technology. Oh, we human being created. So they mainly come from West. So West, there's not much tradition about training of mind. Those countries were sort of very much thinking about inner value. Then just they simply, you see, carry, pray to God. Not much tradition, training our mind. Whereas this country, India, training our mind. And Buddha, you see, state very clear, you are your own master. So, see, everything depends on one's own sort of mental state. They are not sufficient just pray to Buddha. They're training your own mind. So now technology come from West. So not much sort of. Now I think technology, people who have some deeper experience, whether religious-minded or not, I think. But you see, these things are mental, not technology. So I don't know. But I think people who really showing, or scientists who really showing about inner sorrow. Now, for example, I think till late 20th century, you see, among the scientists, you see, even, you see, beside the brain, nothing, consciousness, nothing. But later part of 20th century, they experiment to some people who have some experience. You see, many hours meditation. So examine their brain. They found some differences. So they eventually, they accept beside brain, there is something which affects our brain that we can call consciousness or mind. So now things are changing. So like Richard Davidson is a brain specialist. Now he himself now meditator. Of course, this is maybe private thing. So now, you see, previously, just brain. Now they begin to feel there is something which affects our brain. In Kasanda, let's say,
called neuroplasticity that we're talking about.
some change through meditation. So this is something very mysterious thing. So now begin, you see, the interest, the field of interest reach deeper, deeper, deeper. So I think this century, 21st century, I think more and more knowledge about deeper nature. And then accordingly, some technician, you see, may develop certain sort of technology, deal these things. So I don't know. A possibility there. Okay.
Greetings.
Yes. Karsa. I don't know your question. But basically, you see, the mental attitude, practice of kindness, practice of altruism. Then even, you see, your enemy who creates trouble for you, so in a way, that person is best teacher in order to practice patience. Through your friend, you see, difficult to practice patience. So you need enemy. The Shantadeva mentioned your enemy is best teacher for your practice. So genuine, I think, loving kindness towards your enemy is genuine loving kindness. Loving kindness towards your friend is very much mixed with attachment. Okay.
Your Holiness, we have a young child here. Next generation with a question.
Hello,
Please go
so
ahead.
my name is Angad Dugal, and my question is, so people believe in God as in different forms, and people kill other people on the basis of their belief in God. So a man who follows Islam will not agree a man who follows Christianity, and they will debate on what they believe who is God. So, and this, as we've seen, leads to death and killing and form of terrorist organizations. So my question is God actually supposed to be portrayed in this good light, or is he actually this omniscient power who's not as pure as we think he is?
Karsa, God. The question is, I think wrong person to ask. I'm Buddhist, no believe God. And as well as Jain, you see, no concept of God. So, wrong person to ask. I think then I want to ask you, one occasion, sometime back, one of my friend, very religious-minded, you see, he seriously asked me, God as a creator, but God himself as a infinite love. So all this world created by God. Then the question is, God infinite love, but among his creature, there are some mischievous people. Why God create that? Or what do you say? 是不是？看
Good attempt.
看。Oh. So when he asked me that very seriously, then I told there's no other way to explain. Just occur my thought. Oh, since God creates hell, so there must be some people go to hell. Then fortunately, he not further questioned. If he further questioned why God creates hell, then difficult. God all powerful, so he creates hell. Why? So there's, I think, Buddhist and Jain, and also one part of Sankhya philosophy over 3,000 years. One philosophy, Sankhya, no God, no creator, but self-creation. Another Sankhya philosophy, except God, creator. So, different sort of answer. So sometimes you see too much confusion due to religious belief. Then, and also worst thing is due to religious, different religious name, fighting each other, killing. Then sometimes I feel better no religion. Just to remain a warm-hearted human being, not talking about heaven or next life.
We have time for one last question, ma'am, please.
Greetings, His Holiness. I just heard what you spoke about. What we see is not the reality. There is something far beyond that. But at times when we are in our lowest point in life, we start questioning everything. Though we know, we've been told and taught that what we are seeing is not the reality. There's something far beyond that. Why does the very basic nature, human nature, starts questioning things around and starts throwing blames rather than accepting it on its own self to others? I just wanted to...
I think we really need basic human nature, compassion, and a sense of community. That should be sort of support with human brain. Now, up to now, education deal with brain, human nature beside. So children, young children, I think very much alive, compassion, or sense of community. Once join school, where not talking about these deeper value, just brain and material thing. So now that, as I think they love me, whether I mention here or not, we should include the lesson beside hygiene of physical. We should include hygiene of emotion from kindergarten level. Then, see, the children, they very much appreciate their mother's kindness. And without that, they cry. So the loving kindness from other, particularly their mother, is very much sort of related with their day-to-day life. So that's the basic human nature. So in education, we should now emphasize our life start in that way. So till our death, loving kindness is very important, very relevant. Now, for example, at the time of death, I think a person surrounded with smile people feel much happier. Then millions of dollars put there, not much effect. That dying person knows now no longer use, but smiling and taking care, and it's no use further now. But still, since our life starts with loving kindness, so at the time of dying, loving kindness very relevant. So I think these we can teach. So as I mentioned earlier, you see the lesson about the hygiene of emotion from kindergarten level up to university level should include. Religion is something different. Whether believe religion or not, up to individual. Here, India's tradition, secular way. So not important about next life or heaven or these things. Simply, day-to-day life, be happy, or surrounded friendly, loving, kind people, and you feel very happy. So we are social. That now scientific explanation is much more convincing rather than religious quotation. Like that. So that should be in education, should include these things based on scientific finding. That's my view. What do you think? What? Like that. So, then? Yes. Yes. Yes, what?
We always seem to rely on somebody else's validation to prove our identity. Why does our happiness, why does our identity rely on someone else's recognition? Somebody else recognizing us.
Identity.
That was a bonus question.
No. If you totally rely on others' word, not good. Even Buddha's word, we should raise question, why? So your friend, you see, give you some advice, and you should raise the question, why? That's very important. Should not say yes. No. That's the Indian tradition, who study logical approach. Always question why? Not yes, no.
Everybody wants to be happy, and warm-heartedness leads to happiness. It's that common experience of all of us. So why is common sense so uncommon? Warm-heartedness leads to happiness. We all want to be happy. And why, therefore, we are not all happy and warm-hearted? What obstructs this natural instinct?
I feel the education here, India, you see, I think introduced by British modern education. I think the Western world just is to think of God. Not much think, since you see, believe God. So just prayer. There is no tradition of, you see, training our own mind. I think that's, I feel, historically, this country, traditionally, very rich about training of mind. But British introduced Western education. Then India, mainly, is through their kind of modern education. Then not much pay attention about our mind, how to train our mind, these things. So now, as I mentioned earlier, we should revive. Religious belief is something individual business, but simply explanation about mind, about emotion, and how to tackle these emotions is, I think, should be part of our education. Not talking next life, not talking God or Shivaji. Shiva, I think, let Shiva peacefully rest in Mount Kailash. You see, too much pray to Buddha, too much pray to Shivaji, and Shivaji cannot do much. So then I think he feel frustration. And Buddha, I think, quite clever. You are your own master. 이 특이질랍다. 돈은 되고 추임이 주신 로야동의 차가 메슬라. 니기 똑고셔는 보면 니 주인 때부터 좋은 줄스.
So the Buddha has stated that the sages or the munis do not wash away the sins of, do not wash away the suffering of sentient beings, nor do they remove the sins or the causes of suffering with their hands, nor do they transfer their own realization into others, but only by giving teaching do they lead others to nirvana or liberation.
So Buddha put all the responsibility on us. Oh, so his responsibility is only teach and how to bring inner peace, how to tackle the opposite of inner peace, that's anger. And also it's a self-centered attitude, me. That too much extreme selfish also is a source of problem. Altruism is the, I think, real method to reduce self-centered attitude. Then, philosophical field, as I mentioned earlier, things, nothing exists as appears, but things exist finally just mere designation. So that because of the antidote of grasping or something there and good attachment, something bad, anger, that reduce. Some student of quantum physics, they get some experience. The understanding about quantum physics is because of loosening, the too much grasping. Nothing exists as appears. That's exactly Nagarjuna's Madhyamika Mulakarika mentioned that. So we are in the beginning of 21st century. I think further discussion with scientists and quantum physicists and psychologists, I think our knowledge how to tackle this destructive emotion, I think this knowledge will increase. So we should not content what is that content. No. Investigate further progress, not based on quotation, but based on experience or sort of experiment. That's important. I think Nagarjuna, one way he was the great scholar of medicine. One way, any Sinjukti,
also Master Nagarjuna,
chemistry,
new alchemist.
So these great Nalanda master, you see, their brain is used in different fields, not just meditation. And then philosophy, of course, no question. And he explained on the basis of philosophical view. And then his main teaching is altruism. Wonderful. Wonderful. Sometimes I really feel I have some connection with Nagarjuna. Hopefully. The Nagarjuna's teaching really transformed my mind. Wonderful. Then Shantadeva's book, Altruism, extremely powerful. It's my selfish, and Shantadeva's sort of teaching, fighting. Shantadeva's teaching very much based on reason. They're selfish, no reason. So weeks, months, years, decades, then they're selfish, become weaker. Then similarly, the Nagarjuna's theory, nothing exists as appears, everything interdependent. But it's samabandha. That sort of theory really reduce my tensions nakata.
And this grasping at some kind of independent existence.
So this not easy. Modern people who always use automatic machine. These things not like that. So my own case, my interest about shunyata, Paticca. Now, nearly 70 years. Firstly, my age, I think 12, 13, I developed interest about shunyata. Then think, familiarize. So now I realize, real sort of effect, my emotion. Then altruism. Now at least more than 50 years. Always think. Then now my altruistic mind now really carry the flag of victory over selfish. Truly. So these are, so through training, you can change our emotion. But take time. So constant effort, day and night. If you familiar these things, then dream time also, you say, reflect this practice. So then gradually you see change. Okay.
With those
Okay.
very meaningful and treasured thoughts from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, we thank you very much for your overwhelming response this wonderful morning. I'm very sure we will really have to request His Holiness to be back very soon for yet another very engaging and meaningful discussion, and then we can have more questions at that time. Your Holiness, on behalf of all our guests here today and all of us at Taj Mahal, New Delhi, we are deeply grateful for all the time that you have spent, the thoughts you have shared, and we are truly blessed today. I would also like to thank His Holiness's Secretariat, the Bureau, Tempala, and for everyone who made this wonderful morning possible. Tea and refreshments are served at the hall across at the Villa Medici.
Okay.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Okay,
Thank you.
now, 85-year-old, I feel next 10 years, 15 years, I think my brain still working. So no problem. Even